You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda. A rabbit hole I've been enjoying lately is finding collaborations that have involved members of propaganda and finding out the story behind those collaborations. A review of Chris Hanna on Discogs revealed a guest vocal spot on a song called Blind by a band from the south of Spain called G.A.S Drummers. I found the song and it's absolutely fantastic. The record the song appears on, We Got the Light, hits everything I love about punk rock with great performance, thoughtful lyrical content, diverse range of sounds, fantastic and hooky vocal melodies. So I discovered a new band that I absolutely love because of a guest vocal collaboration featuring Chris Hanna. And when I reached out to Dani Llamas, the singer of G.A.S Drummers, I found out the band also played shows with propaganda from 2002 to a short Canadian tour in 2017, and that they are friends now of many years. So in addition to Dani's work in G.A.S Drummers, he's also an accomplished solo artist, has music in English and Spanish, and also has a solo record on Joey Cape's 1 Week Records label. So please go check out Dani Llamas' solo work and his work with G.A.S Drummers. I guarantee you there is something that you will like. And I really enjoyed this conversation with Dani about touring with propaganda, being friends with propaganda, collaborating on the song Blind, where Chris sings a verse in the tune, and also just our mutual love and admiration of the band Propaganda. So please enjoy, and thank you for listening.
Despite the spell of charming neon lights, so flex your head. Open the door to dirty games. We're imprisoned in so many ways. Don't let my eyes go blind. 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 Don't let my eyes go. There's no debate. Dirty and chumps here make my day. So what makes yours? How much you'll buy and sell? The veil of truth always inside a crystal cell. You and I can only have a taste. Don't let my eyes go blind. 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 Don't let my eyes go blind.
Dani Llamas, welcome to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. It is 6:53 in the morning here in New York, and it's a Sunday morning, and I'm having a lovely coffee, and I'm excited to chat with you today, Dani. For those out there who don't know who you are and what you do, can you just spend a moment and introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners?
Well, my name is Dani Llamas, as you said. I've been playing in a band called the G.A.S. Drummers for a long, long time. I also do solo records, and I'm a fan of propaganda too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about your musical journey, if you will. Give a little bit of a background, like, when you started playing music, when you found music, things like that kind of got this into being a major part of your life.
Well, I reckon it was, my first approach with music, seriously, like I really want to be a musician or something like that. I think it turned out when I was like 12, maybe, or 13, that I started to listen to a lot of what was called, because, I live in the south of Spain. So there was this whole thing in MTV and grunge and all these around 91, 92, the past century. And so the little window that got opened by listening to Nevermind, Nirvana's Nevermind, it suddenly became like a hurricane of music came out of this window. And so I started to listen to punk rock. I got into punk rock, and then I started my own band. And then after a couple of bands, it turned out being the G.A.S. Drummers, which I started when I was like 17. And so it's like my lifetime band or something like that.
Yeah, nice. Tell me, has it been a consistent lineup for G.A.S. Drummers? Have you had some changes? Like, what's the story there?
Yeah, we started out as a 3-piece, and the new guitar player, because everybody calls him the new, but it's been there for like 20 years.
Nice.
It's Pablo. He's the second guitar player. I mean, he probably is the first because he plays way better than me, but he's the second because he came second. And then Paco, our bass player, he's kind of being in and out for labor reasons.
Yeah,
like he's not busy with work and all that. Sometimes he couldn't record a record, but suddenly after that he came back to the band. So the only member that has been changing a few times is the bass player.
Okay.
So we have had like 3 bass players in that time, 4 to be honest. Yeah.
I love it. So it's like a long-term consistent band with consistent friendship. And that's just fabulous. I love hearing that. I love it when bands can stay together for a long time. Kind of reminds me of Propaganda, the Bouncing Souls, stuff like that, where it's like lifelong friends and everybody's just all in it together.
It's a different thing. It's a thing that it's like a family. It's not really a band that you do with bandmates for a purpose. It's a band that always has been a reaction to what our lives are, indeed, so that's probably why every record of us has been consistently different.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I know that you do a little bit outside the band as well. What is your sort of day-to-day, day job kind of approach to life?
I do 2 things. I started releasing solo records, and those records were probably less known than the band, but a couple years ago, something happened with the record this is my first record in my native language, Spanish. Yeah. And it turned out being like something I can live off.
Nice.
Yeah. In the end, after like almost 30 years in music, I suddenly can just make it out of that. And I do another job, which, I have a little production company with my partner. So we make movies. And so,
amazing.
I work as a cameraman too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think I actually found a appearance of your solo project on like network television on YouTube. Like I was doing a little bit like video searches for you. And I think I found you performing on like television for your solo record as well. So that was kind of cool as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, Dani, the reason I found you is because I found a collaboration that Chris from Propaganda did with G.A.S. Drummers. And we'll get all into that and the touring and the record and everything. But How did you originally get into Propaganda? Was it just as a fan of music and punk rock in general, or how did they come onto your radar as like a band that you enjoy?
The first time I listened to Propaganda probably was probably 94, 95.
Okay.
And it was How to Clean Everything.
Yeah.
And the main reason I got more into it became one of my favorite bands. It was by lyrics. Because I'm very much into. I come from a family that, you know, in Spain has always been like concerned by politics, and them being a very political band really got me into their whole realm, you know. And not just musically, which I really consider they are like really great performers and they make great songs, but I can't recognize that their lyrics really got me very much into them. And made a, you know, there's some other bands where lyrics are more into other stuff, which I don't like that much.
Yeah.
If I like a band and the lyrics are like more like political, I'll probably like them more, you know. That's what happens with some other bands that I like The Clash or Fugazi, or, you know, if they do that thing, it probably got me more than just music. And so that was why I got into Propaganda. Right.
Awesome.
I followed them, and I remember being a total fan of them when they released Let's Talk More Rock and all that. And by the time they were touring with Today's Empire, Tomorrow's Ashes, I can't remember really how, but we got the opportunity to bring them to our hometown. And that tour, that was 2002.
Okay.
September 2002. And you know, they're my friends, but I've always said that to everybody. And they are really the conditions, the economical conditions to bring them were really easy. You don't work with bands like, because, you know, I set up shows in my hometown area and all that in the south of Spain, but they were like, okay, we want to go there. We refuse to have a fee. So they're paying us with entrance money. Okay. So if they don't cover with 60-40, we'll go down to 50-50. If they don't cover up with 50-50, we'll go down to 40-60, you know? So they were really into coming to the south of Spain. They made everything very possible, you know?
Awesome.
So it happened. So I had Propaganda playing with the G.A.S drummers and some other local band in the south of Spain, in Jerez, my hometown, in 2002. And right after that, they were finishing the tour there. That was a whole European tour, and that was the very last date. And so right after that, I think Chris and Todd, they kind of flew back to Canada, but George and Mark, the sound guy, and who else? And then they gather up with George's brother and George's sister to stay for a couple weeks in the south with me.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we ended up going to the beach, and then they stayed at my home in Seville. And so that's how we really came like good friends. Yeah.
Amazing. So 2002, George basically just ended the tour. The other guys left, but George kind of had like a family vacation with you for a couple of weeks.
That's it. You got it.
What was that? How did that friendship develop? Tell me a little bit about your special tie with George, because I got the impression from our emails before that George's kind of like your buddy.
Yeah. George is a great guy. I mean, they all are. And George is funny. And we speak a lot about politics and because we love it. And that's how finally we tied our bonds by doing stuff together. And we spent 2 weeks together in the south. I remember I was cooking some vegan delights for them. I mean, like local vegan delights for them.
Sure.
There was something, probably the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. It happened with them because I had this very old Nissan van. That's a Japanese old van that used to belong to my father. And on our way to Tarifa, which is like the last town in Europe before crossing to Africa. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We were driving there and suddenly the van broke down. Okay. So we were like on a side of the road, like just waiting for, I don't know, to pick us up, or something. And then suddenly I go like, wow, that's my parents in a car. My parents live like an hour from there.
Yeah.
And they're just, and it was like a Monday, which by the time my parents used to work, now they're retired, but they work by that time. And they're like, what's my parents? And I call my father like, hey, haven't you seen me on the side of the road? We just, the van just broke down. And like, we had a day off and just figure out to go to Tarifa too. And like, what? So they went there and we were just in there and then pick us up. And it was like super, I don't know. I don't believe in God, but if there's a God, it made that happen for sure.
Well, yeah. So you and Jord and like Jord's family are standing on the side of the highway and your parents just randomly drove by and managed to pick you all up.
There you go.
It was amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So
that's amazing.
That's 2002. And you did the one show together, right? Just one show?
Yep. Just one show. In 2003, we released a new record called Dialectics. And I managed to send it to G7. And I remember that because, sometimes with emails, it's a bad thing because, you don't have them like printed. And somehow if your computer just breaks down, probably a lot of information goes with it.
Yeah.
But I remember having an email from Chris that he got the record and he listened to the records and he was pumped by the record. And he goes like, man, it's like, I love the record and this lyric is so great. And what do you mean when you say this sentence and all that? And to me, having a letter from Chris and saying these words about my songs is like, okay, I made it. It's like, yeah. It's. I was super, super happy to have that those words from Chris, and I remember I have that in my mind, like it was like one of the highlights, in my music career, and that was 2003. I remember, and right after that, I don't know, but probably they went into I don't know if hiatus or something.
Yeah.
They had this time with our releases and stuff, and probably we got some, our relation was more based like in emails and all that. I remember some people from the Mondragon Cafe in Winnipeg. They stayed at my house for a month, probably in 2004.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it? Do you remember who it was from Mondragon? I had Paul on the show, on the podcast to talk about Mondragon.
That was Eaton.
Cool, awesome. Yeah. So the relationship just kind of like was international via email, and just kind of random things just kind of kept happening to keep that connection going. It seems like. Exactly.
That's what happened.
I love it. So I know that you all did a tour together not too long ago on the Victory Lap tour. And, how did that fall into place? What were some dates in the 2017 tour? And I'm just curious about your memories and anything that you can recall about that 2017 tour.
Yeah, prior to that, there was this thing that Chris sung in our record.
Oh, right. Yeah, we'll get into that too. Yeah.
And that's somehow how we reconnected.
Sure. So let's chat about the 2013 record first, and then we'll go back to the 2017 tour. Does that sound good?
Cool. Yeah.
So this record is awesome. It's called We Got the Light. Came out in 2013. Features a guest vocal appearance from Chris on a song called Blind. And I'm wondering how this collaboration came about leading up to the release of this record.
So we were doing the record in our rehearsal room, and there suddenly was this song. And the way the song is, it's pretty like rocking, but that record, We Got the Light, it's a kind of the way we got back to fast punk rock. We done like a couple of records in the middle that were a little bit like more away from straight fast punk rock, and we're more like into the power pop kind of music.
Yeah, that kind of your sound kind of reminds me of like what like Body Jar did for a while, where you had started off as like a fast punk band, and then you kind of got more of a rock band, and then you kind of made it fast again. That's kind of like your trajectory kind of reminds me of Body Jar a little.
Yeah, I love Body Jar, by the way.
Yeah.
And so when we were doing the record, we suddenly were doing Blind, and it's like, man, it totally can have Chris Hanna as a guest vocals, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, yeah, I'll go and write him. And I did. And, you know, it was like, of course, man, I'm honored if you thought of me, and, you know, Chris is. And so, yeah, he did it. He sung the song, and he did it like ace, and it was perfect. And so we were super happy to have him. Yeah.
So was there any like collaboration on the lyrics with Chris or anything involving melody that you did, or did you send him like a version of you singing the whole thing? And I said, I want you to do this section. And then he kind of did it like in your original vision.
Yeah. I told him that he could just move and do that, you know, that section the way he does it.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe I was thinking of him when I wrote it. So I guess it was pretty much his game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he did what he had to do.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily natural for him. He sounds really seamless with you. And it was like, you know, not jarring at all of a listen. Like it was really an awesome transition. It's almost like you two are in the same band and you normally ping pong vocals like that anyway.
Yeah. That's it. Because I was like really thinking that when I was writing it, like, I'm Chris Hanna right now. What would Chris say? You know, something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
It's my own tribute to Chris's writing or something. I don't know.
Let's chat about the tune itself a little bit. So I got some lyrics here pulled up, and we have the first verse sung by you. It says, I caught myself watching the news the other day. I don't feel shame and I have no regrets. As I get old, I see the world clearer day by day. History is turning and our living is boring. So tell me about watching the news and how consuming news and media has changed throughout your life, because this is something that whenever I read this lyric, I was like, wow, this is really hitting me. I'm 38, and like it's like watching the news is like just getting punched in the face over and over and over, especially, you know, if you care about the world and the trajectory of the planet and the future of our like society for our children and things like that. This first verse really punched me hard, and I'm curious about your thoughts and reflections on this first verse here.
Well, it makes as I tried to explain before, to care about the world and to care about what solution can we offer to our next generations, in terms of like we are the existing link between our forefathers and whoever is inheriting the planet we're living right now. Mm-hmm. It's a great responsibility. I mean, we're not in the world to just don't care. Yeah. And it's a huge responsibility. I'm a parent myself, mm-hmm. and you know, it's no other thing, but like I'm really concerned that whatever we do now, it's gonna be parts of my sister's future, you know. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I am involved in politics, and I'm not ashamed. I mean, yeah, I don't care what other people would think of me, but I'm a militant, you know. I'm a member of the Communist Party of Spain, and I haven't always been a member of the Communist Party, but I'm a proud communist. Mm-hmm. I mean, because what we really as a party and as a movement, what we really want is to develop the tools for a world to be more just, you know. Yeah. And so, you know, so tax the rich, and so we have better schools and better hospitals and better, you know, and so you know, the world, as I said, could be more just and more fair. Yeah. That being said, it makes us be conscious of what the news are bringing, be conscious in who are paying for the news to be brought to us, and that makes us to be aware, but always to be focused on who is I don't know how to say it, but like who's pulling the strings somehow,
sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So that's it's like we really have to care about what's going on, but also be aware who's telling the news to us, so
yeah. And whenever I see your use of the word boring here, that really hit me too, because so often whenever I see what the news is focused on, it bores me tremendously the way that politicians and famous people are given platforms to talk about things which to me are ridiculous, such as like women's health care, or what schools are teaching what, or the manufactured creation of controversies in like United States school curriculum and things like that, and how that just gets beat over the head like those are actually real news stories instead of distractions to keep people enraged, because it happens constantly all the time. And that's something that really struck me, is whenever you said boring, I was like, I am so bored when I look at the news, because these are not people who are actively trying to make the world a better place. It's just constant controversy cultivation that is meant to, keep us angry instead of visionary. And so instead of looking forward and trying to actually make the world a better place, it's just like keeping us stagnant and angry so that we'll fight with each other instead of actually create a better society and have a visionary view of what can possibly happen someday. Does that make sense?
Of course, it's called divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Romans did that.
Yeah.
Way back in history.
Humans are so predictable. We are we are cycles of our own creation. Oh my gosh.
But it's like it's power do that all the time.
Yeah.
They want us to be, confronting each other so they can just, do what they have to do,
So we have this second verse here where Chris comes in, and he just comes in right away. So I like it how you have a couple of lines for yourself, and then you just bring him right up front in the beginning of the song, which is awesome, because sometimes you hear like you have like a featuring so-and-so on the back of a record for a band, and then you have to like wait until like way later in the song, and then you hear them maybe doing a chorus or something like that. But you give Chris his own verse front and center. He says, so pick your side, despite cliches and merchandise, despite the spell of charming neon lights. So flex your head, open the door to dirty games. We're imprisoned in so many ways. Don't let my eyes go blind. What do you want us to consider regarding the verse with Chris?
You gotta, picking a side. It's something very interesting. It's a very interesting concept here. Because to us, which are probably all like middle class, white, progressive, I don't know, people in the world, it's very important that we pick a side, because we really have to matter what the problems in the world are. A lot of people that are in our same cage, they really don't care about who they are and how the world is divided into the oppressors and the oppressed. If you don't pick the side, you probably are picking the side of the oppressor. And that's, I think that's Malcolm X, I think, who said that.
Well,
right?
and like your use of merchandise here really is awesome too, because we get very distracted by like waiting in line for like the new PlayStation, or like going for like a new pair of shoes. So we get like distracted by these like items and goods, but really that's just a distraction to essentially buy our complacency by manufacturing things that we feel like we need to buy at all times.
I mean, and for real, that you have I don't know, an Adidas shoes, and you have I don't know, you have a car and you have a Apple computer.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you are totally into capitalism.
Right.
Because you live in the world and you probably have an Apple computer. It doesn't mean that you're not concerned.
Yeah.
So despite all merchandise and cliches, because you live in this world, you don't live in another world. You can't avoid society.
Right.
You live inside this shit, inside the monster. So I don't mind that, your possessions. Just do what you have to do. Pick a side, take care of each other, and be aware of the world you live in. You don't really have to run to the mountains and live like in prehistory or something like that.
I would die anyway. I wouldn't make it. Where I live it's too cold in Buffalo to actually pull that off for myself.
Right.
Is that a reference to the Discord Records Flex Your Head compilation in the lyrics there?
Of course. Yeah.
Tell me about why you put that in there.
Because it went so well with the lyrics. And so, yeah, I think I got a copy of Flex Your Head by that time, probably, because I'm a record collector. Mm-hmm. And then I somehow I got to make it into the song, and I did. Yeah. And Chris is saying I like you saying Flex Your Head. Yeah. He got it. Yeah. Too.
Sweet. Well then there's more lyrics here too. This is a fantastic rock and roll tune, and but then you mentioned some names of some scholars that are inspiring to you. Tell me anything else that you want us to consider about the remainder of the lyrics here, because this is just a great song.
Well, I mean, when I write the lyrics of the G.A.S. Drummers, I really try to kind of spark some light. That's all my battle I give in this battlefield, and I'm really trying to spark people's attention into come on, do something.
Yeah.
And I was probably feeling that way when I wrote that, and by myself, I was really wanted to do something. Not just watching the news, not just giving my opinion in Facebook.
Yeah.
Just do something with your community. Go out and leave home, leave your computer world, leave the fake of all that, and just go out and do something for real. And probably that's the whole thing going on in this record is that.
Nice.
For sure. And so it's translated to all songs.
Nice. Well, I'm doing this with you because this record and your band are just so good. This is just really hitting so many of my favorite things about music. Like when I'm listening to it, to me, I've been such a massive fan of the Bouncing Souls, Body Jar, Descendants, Lillingtons, The Draft, Crazy Arm. These bands are amazing to me, and I get a lot of those same feelings listening to those bands as I get listening to your band. So I'm hoping that any of those bands that I just listed might inspire folks to check out the rest of your records too, because that's what your songs do for me. And I'm so glad that I randomly discovered your band just a few weeks ago. Your band is brand new to me, and I'm going back and really enjoying and revisiting. And I know a lot of our listeners would as well. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to get some people to check you guys out who haven't heard you. But I'm curious about the collaboration with Stefan from the Descendants and All, who also mixed and mastered this record that Chris appears on. How did that collaboration with Stefan Edgerton come out?
I'm trying to think how me and Stefan met. And I thought it was because I worked with a band from Florida. I toured with them. They're called Less Than Jake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I toured with them in Europe, and we have a common friend, a friend from Montreal. He's called Patch. Patch, he works in a very big a company that they set up big shows in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Patch I think it was Vinny from Less Than Jake. Yeah.
Okay.
It was Vinny who got me linked to Stefan. That's for sure. Yeah, because I sent Vinny the record, or I was talking to Vinny because Vinny's got a record label called Paper and Plastic.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Vinny and I say, hey, we're doing this new record and we really wanted probably to mix and master it outside Spain. And he goes, dude, talk to Stefan. I talked to him before, like you guys. Really, he's fantastic. He's great. He works really well. He's a super easy dude, and you're gonna have a great job done and all that. So yeah, he definitely was. He's the sweetest dude, and he's super nice. He's a super great musician.
Yeah.
He did a great job. And
Yeah.
he probably got me the most, I don't know, like weird comment on my band and on my singing. He goes like, dude, I like the band. I love the record. And I like how the four singers sing. And I'm like, dude, it's just me.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. I like the work of the four singers. And I'm like, it's just me, I'm like, I'm doing like four different vocals or what?
Yeah.
But he said that, and it was really funny.
You have an amazing musical, you have an amazing array of vocal sounds too on the record too. It's very melodic and it's very memorable. And like that to me, like is the mark of such a good song. Like if I can listen to something and then for the first time and then walk away, humming it, a memorable parts that stick with me, that to me is what keeps me bringing back to music. It's like that hook that gets into my heart and I can't let it go. So your band does that for me too, with like the hooky, memorability. Yeah. All right. So now we got 2013 out of the way. And a few years later, G.A.S. drummers and Propaganda hook up for a tour in 2017. And I just want to hear anything about this tour in 2017 for the Victory Lap era that you remember and that you wish to share.
I remember I wrote, I think it was Chris or George, I can't remember now. Because right after having Chris singing in the record, my relation was both as frequent with George or Chris, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember I think I was writing Chris saying like when they were releasing the record, the Victory Lab, like the next time you guys do a tour, if you need some opening bands, we're up for that. And he goes, would you really do it? And I go like, yeah, sure. But things you say, right?
Yeah.
And he goes like, okay, why don't you come? And I'm like, are you serious? Yeah, sure. Just we'll try to have you. Of course. We love your band. Just and they did. I mean, and they could have whatever band you think.
Sure.
To open for them in Canada.
Yeah.
With a new record, playing in front of, I don't know, 1,500 a night. But they chose us. And so it's something that no other band would do, It's just that's what I have to say. And you probably agree, but it's just what makes them being who they are. I mean,
where were the shows? Tell me about the dates and anything like that.
That was 2017 in October. Yes, October, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we started out in London, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
That's not far from your hometown.
No, it's like it's like 2 hours away, but I'm actually going to a Propaganda show in London, Ontario in about 8 weeks.
Right. So it's in the same venue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so we made that, but then we made Ottawa and Toronto and Montreal. There was 4 shows with them.
Awesome.
And
fabulous.
It was great and super. It was in huge venues and it was huge crowds and response of the crowds were awesome for a band like us that came from over the pond, and that we were playing to a lot of people that they didn't know us, and they reacted. There was sold a lot of merchandise and records and shirts and all that, and I know the crew. I mean, I know Robin and I know Mark and the guys that are touring with Propaganda and Hugo too. And so I know them and we were part of the crew, And it's like they were all having fun together and and yeah, it was really like the best way you can just tour in a foreign territory. And we have toured worldwide and all that, but like with such a great support from a bigger band, it makes things really easier. It's the best way for a small band like us to go and, you know, spread our word, you know.
Totally.
So you know, it's in my personal story, I've met a lot of musicians. Some of them were my music heroes, and Propaganda are just one of them, you know.
Yeah.
We have made records with Tim Armstrong from Rancid.
Mm-hmm.
And I got signed by Joey Cape's label 1 week.
Cool.
And I toured with Grand Heart of Husker Du, and you know, I have had this kind of luck to have met a lot of my music heroes in my life. But what Propaganda did with the G.A.S. drummers is it's apart. It's something apart from all the other things. You know, they're really like good friends, and like probably they did more to us than anybody else. That's for sure.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. And I actually didn't even know that you did a release on 1 Week Records. I'm on oneweekrecords.com right now, and there's your solo record right there from Joey Cape's label.
Yeah. I did that in Los Angeles in 2018, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well, that's cool. I didn't even know about that. So now I have to go and listen to that too. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
What was your favorite city on that Canadian tour? Did you get to do any sightseeing?
I think it was Toronto, because we were based in Toronto to do that. We made some other shows by ourselves. Okay. Because we couldn't make it to the States that time, because it's really hard with the visas.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, you have to pay a lot of money, and so you won't get that money back. So we decided to just stick into Canada, which we don't have to pay for visas. Right. So we stayed for another 4 shows in Canada, and so our base town was Toronto, and I knew Montreal. I've been there a few times. I played there solo and all that, but it was my first time in Toronto, and so I think it got me surprised. It was surprising. Sometimes I felt like I was living there, you know, because I knew the few spots that we were just, you know, used to go to have lunch and stuff. And like, yeah, I can live here, you know.
Nice.
It's a great town. I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to Toronto. Propaganda is doing 2 shows in Toronto in the end of May, and I'm going to the second one, and then I'm going to the London show, and then I'm going to the Guelph, Ontario show, and then I'm going to drive back down to Buffalo, because it's all in just like this tiny little region of like this 2-hour radius kind of thing. So right. I'll be going there too. I love it. Do you have a favorite Propaganda record?
Oh, that's a tough one.
On the spot, the test.
Okay, right. I would say Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes. It's a different record. That's when they kind of changed.
Yeah.
And Todd is in it, and I love Todd. But I also really like Victory Lap a lot, because it's the same. They haven't released a record for a long time, and then they kind of rewrite melodic hardcore in this record, being who they are, because they're like super technical, progressive, metalish rock at times, and I had another reason too. The easiest way to like survive as a band is to stick to a formula. Okay, you see a lot of bands doing that. That's kind of boring to me.
Yeah,
because you see no risk. You know what they did in Victory Lap is another round. You know, it's like we can do that as with 50 something. You know, and or 40. A lot, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to sound like you're 18.
Right.
So you're being honest who you are right now. You don't have to sound like, okay, I have 18, I go skateboarding, and you know, I mean, like with all due respect, but like you can still be honest and be 50 or be 40 something and play hardcore. No shame about it. I mean, you still can do a very mature record with very interesting lyrics and multiple shapes, and not to be something very like, all right, I've seen it all, So it made me think that hardcore or punk rock, whatever you want to call it, it's not a teenage music. It's not just a teenage music, for teenagers. So that's how I like a lot Victory Lap.
Nice. Well, you kind of also just answered a question that was springing in my mind. I like to sort of conclude interviews with guests by asking them what this band means to them as a person who cares about the world, who cares about people, who cares about the planet. And like, any other thoughts on there about like why this band is so significant to you and like the grand scheme of your life as a thinking person?
I've always said that Propaganda are my Fugazi.
Mm-hmm. They're mine too.
Yeah, but so I think that answers that because it's it's a band that I don't really just like them musically. I also like them as friends.
Yeah,
and what they do, the way they manage their own band, the way that, it's not just play music and play music and writing songs. It's the way they manage the whole thing as a collective.
Yeah.
And when do you know them personally? Boom, you got and like, yeah. So that's why they're my Fugazi.
Amazing. Well, Dani, I'm super grateful to you for your time, for your stories, for hanging out with me, to just kind of talked about to listeners about why this band is so important to you. Living in Spain. You're my first guest in Spain, as far as I know. So that's fantastic. Cool. And I'm delighted by that. And I'm wondering if you can just tell everybody where they can find your work if they want to follow along and, or, anything like that.
So, you could just listen to all our records. I mean, the G.A.S. records on platforms, every platforms from Apple to Spotify, whatever. And also on Bandcamp, where you can buy the records. You can buy them. And, our second record, it's called The True Charm of Bourgeoisie. We are re-recording it right now.
Cool.
So it's like, so the band has been inactive for like 4 years or 4.5 years. So right now we're back at it. So
nice.
So that's cool. That's cool too.
So more coming soon from the G.A.S. drummers. This is great.
It's a version, a 2022 version of our second record that was released in 2001.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be fun. And I forgot how fast we played by the time.
Oh boy! Awesome.
And our drummer too. He almost forgot.
Yeah, and his arms were like, oh gosh, I have to get in shape for this.
Holy shit, man! And besides that, if you want to check out my solo records, they're also in platforms, and you can go to 1 Week Records to check my 1 week record. And if you want to check my Spanish records, that's what I do right now. I sing in Spanish. You still can go to Bandcamp, my Bandcamp, or platforms. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, Dani Llamas, thank you so much for joining me and chatting Propaganda, chatting music, chatting tour. It's been such a delight to have you here today.
Thank you very much. I've been super comfortable.